Welcome to The Vinyl Guide, the podcast for record collectors and music nerds. Here's your host, the biggest record nerd of them all, Nate Goyer.
Well, hey everyone, it's Nate. Welcome to episode 528 of The Vinyl Guide, the podcast for record collectors and music nerds. And dear people, today we are stoked to be welcoming amongst our ranks Marc and Brent Belke, discussing the history, the recordings, the rare records, and legacy of SNFU. And this is all in the shadow of a few major events for the band. First off, we're going to talk all about and preview the Trust Records deluxe re-release of the band's 1985 debut, And No One Else Wanted to Play. It's a beautiful package. It features a 50-something page booklet, lots of rare photos and interview excerpts, plus a full LP of demos and alternate versions from that beloved early period of SNFU. And all this and more will be revealed on December 5th with a very special launch of this re-release, which is also alongside an SNFU exhibit, a Q&A roundtable, guided tours, and even a live SNFU set at the Punk Rock Museum in Las Vegas. So if you're anywhere near Las Vegas or can get there by December 5th, make sure to connect with us there. And yes, I said the word us. I will also be at the event in Las Vegas as well. So make plans to be there. Marc and Brent, Joe Nelson of Trust, myself. Maybe we could even coax Fat Mike to come out and hang out a bit. So this is all part of a huge SNFU celebration, December 5th at the Punk Rock Museum. They're going to be playing live in the Pennywise Garage and giving guided tours, so it's a day you don't want to miss. Friday, December 5th, SNFU guided tours, roundtable discussion, live performance, and record launch, all at the Punk Rock Museum in Las Vegas. Now, in the interview you're about to hear, I went deep with Marc and Brent all about the history and legacy of SNFU, the early recordings, the rare records, the challenges of mail ordering punk records from 1980s Alberta, Canada, the isolated punk scene they had up there, their musical influences, both UK and US. We talk about pivotal records in their collections. We talk about vital compilations, ordering early Minor Threat releases direct from Discord. They also share memories of the late and legendary Chai Pig, as well as attempts to share and honor the finer moments of the SNFU legacy. And it's a great listen, and it's got me all excited to hear that Trust Records version myself, but I'm going to have to wait till December 5th to do it. And with that, let's get into the conversation with Brent and Marc Belke on the legacy of SNFU. All right, this week on the Vinyl Guide, we are welcoming Brent and Marc Belke of SNFU, who, there's a lot of stuff going on, especially around the Punk Rock Museum, but I've always wanted to have these brothers on. Gentlemen, you guys calling in both from Canada, yeah?
Yes, I'm in Vancouver.
And I'm just across the Salish Sea in Victoria.
Got it, okay. All right, so you guys are a little bit of water away from one another. Yeah?
Very close.
Yeah.
It's technically, it's like a 30-kilometer drive, up with the ferry. So it's pretty close. But
and you guys are talking in kilometers, too. That's music to my ears. So December 5th, you guys, we'll talk all about your records and stuff like that because we are a nerdy podcast here. But December 5th, the Punk Rock Museum, you guys are unveiling a new SNFU exhibit. Is that right?
Yes, the SNFU exhibit, and this is, it's coinciding with the re-release of the first album, No One Else Wanted to Play, on Trust. So, there's the re-release, there's going to be exhibits, there's going to be a roundtable, it's going to be a whole fun-filled day, December 5th.
Excellent. And, you guys are giving guided tours, I understand. What are the sort of things that we'll see in the exhibit?
The exhibit was actually up last summer in a museum in Saskatchewan. So I think it just coinciding with the re-release of the first album, it was just proposed to the museum to put it up there, and they were into it. So I think it's mostly like paraphernalia, posters, and T-shirts, and some things like that. I actually haven't seen the exhibit, so I can't.
Yeah, old band underwear and stuff like that.
Yeah,
exactly. I think it's to highlight the artwork of SNFU, really, because it was for an art gallery, right? So, yeah, and this guy, he's collected everything, shirts, posters. So, yeah, and it's going to be a not as big an exhibit at the Punk Rock Museum, but it's going to be cool. It'll be all the hits.
Cool. And the reissue from Trust, and Joe, I think, has done a phenomenal job on all these releases up to this point, and I'm sure SNFU is going to be right up there as well. What sort of extras are going to be in that?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
There's a
is it
book.
like a 100-page book, I think.
Yeah,
Full of,
it might be.
it's huge. Photos. I go online and I've looked at photos of SNFU, and there's all these photos I've never seen before. So super cool photos, like interview excerpts throughout it. And then there's the extra record of like
Old demos and like the demos are all songs I had totally forgotten about, actually. And tons of them, like really just more like an archive than an actual release, because there's multiple versions of some of the songs, and it's really like it's like a Blue Note jazz albums, you know?
Yeah, I was actually really against the old stuff coming out, but then I listened to it. I went, oh, it kind of gives you context of, because it's about a year before the album was recorded, or maybe 8 months before. Anyway, sort of gives you context of what the album is with all these other songs that didn't actually make the cut, but it sort of shows us where we were in our infancy. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
And it totally falls in with what Joe's trying to do with Trust anyway. He wants to be sort of like an archive and put this stuff up for people so they can look back and see actually what it was. So having the context of what Brent was saying, what we were doing before that album came out, if you're into music history and the roots of things, it's pretty interesting.
So it really captures SNFU and actually the whole hardcore punk scene in 1985. Like when you flip through it, I was just like, wow, I went right back in a time machine when I was looking at it. It was awesome.
Now, you guys got your start in Alberta, is that right? Am I correct in that?
Yeah.
Now, how different was the Alberta scene than some of the other scenes you came to shortly afterward?
Well, there was no scene. I mean, it was very, very small scene when we had started, when we were like the bands that we saw locally that inspired us to play music. It would have been like, like 50 people in the scene, and you would see the same people at every show. And I mean, over time it got bigger and bigger, but it was really a case of infancy for the scene. So very intimate. Everyone sort of knew each other. Everyone sort of supported each other, and felt like we were just like building something,
Mm.
Yeah. And at first there was like the synth new wave band, and then there was like a rockabilly revival band. So it was a wide gamut. And then, after a while, the hardcore thing really became a bigger thing. But when we first started going to shows, it was like a wide gamut of all kinds of different musical things. All on a subcultural kind of take on it, right?
So This is late 70s, early 80s, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
1980, 81, 82 is when we first started going to shows, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds very much like it was in Los Angeles, as I've been told from folks like from the Danger House label, how the shows were, incredibly different bands all the time, but everyone was supportive. A lot of marginalized groups that came together and looked after one another, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was almost like an offshoot of the art scene, right? And everything was sort of, if it was counterculture, it was cool. No matter, it didn't have to do with the genre of music, but just like long as it was going against what was popular, it's all good.
So in that part of the world, was it difficult to get some of the punk music that was coming out of England or the East Coast at that time?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like when we first, when I first was getting records, it would be, you'd basically go downtown to the magazine shop and get like a Trouser Press magazine, or like we'd get all the British music magazines, but like the American Trouser Press. And then in the back, there'd be ads for some record stores in New York or whatever. So then you would get that and you would send them a self-addressed stamped envelope. Then they would send you a catalog, and then you would go through the catalog, and then you would send your choices back to the place. And then they would send you like maybe 25% of the records you ordered, because the other ones were all out of stock by that point. So it was like a 2-month process. So if you read in a magazine about a cool band, it'd be 2 months before you actually got to hear that band, right? It was
if you got to hear them at all, if they had the record.
Yeah. If it was in stock, but if that record wasn't in stock, you were out of luck. That was at first. And then probably a few years later, there was a really cool record store at the university,
Records.
Student Records. They always had good stuff. And then there's a record store downtown called Sound Connection. So, like by 83, 84, they were getting import stuff and just cooler stuff was coming in. So you could go to the record store and get stuff at that point. But at first, like when we were in high school getting into punk rock, it was really difficult to get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What were some of the pivotal records that you guys had?
Pivotal records. Well, we were talking about ordering records. I remember ordering the first Bad Brains cassette from Royer, the Royer label, which I still have the cassette. It doesn't play worth shit, but I still have it.
Is that how you pronounce it? Royer? I've always struggled with the pronunciation of that.
I think that's R-O-I-R, right?
Royer.
Roy?
Yeah,
and they were a cassette-only label.
Yeah.
And just blown away by when you hear Pay to Come off the Let Them Eat Jelly Beans compilation. It's just like, what the hell is this?
That is the best version. I'll stick by that one. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And that actually Let Them Eat Jelly Beans is an incredible record. That first, mostly for me, it's the side A with really like Circle Jerks and DOA and Dead Kennedys. That was like a true document of the cream of the crop of hardcore bands at that time. And in a way, you could say, I don't know if it was super pivotal, but I listened to that over and over and over.
Sure.
I mean, like the first Sex Pistols album was a big record. I remember when I heard Minor Threat, like the Out of Step EP was a huge record for me. And then, I don't know, early. How about you, Brent? Any of the early records?
Well, yeah. The Sex Pistols was like the one where the head exploded. But, what else? Machine Gun Etiquette by The Damned is one of my favorites. I still listen to that. London Calling by The Clash was great. Like I love The Clash. And then that I remember that Bad Brains cassette. I remember that went on and we were all just like moshing around the basement. It was just like you couldn't control yourself hearing that one. What else? Even LA stuff, when Social Distortion Youth Brigade, they did a tour and came up through Edmonton. And so that got me interested, like the Youth Brigade and Social Distortion, what they were doing. And Circle Jerks were a great band too. The whole LA scene was very influential on what we were doing, right?
But it sounds like you guys were kind of picking things at random. Like you couldn't hear the things, obviously, through the magazine, through the ordering. So you kind of had to have a little bit of luck as to what you stumbled upon. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, totally. And in a way, it was like with our friends, our core group of friends, you're always trying to blow your friend's mind with some release that you got that they didn't have, right? You're trying to outdo them, like, check this out and blow their minds, right? So there's a bit of that. Like I remember Chai playing the Nervous Breakdown record for me, and I was just like, blew my mind. And so you're always trying to find something to blow someone's mind. It was almost like a game. And I also remember buying some records just about how they looked because I was so into buying records and things like that. And I would spend hours in record stores just looking at records and wanting to buy something and hearing something new, which is still something for me. I'm always interested in what's going on. Even if it's not punk rock, it's like I have the ability to listen to whatever I want. And so I can check it out and actually have an actual opinion of what it is. But I remember buying records just about how it looked and sort of using, I guess there'd be like, you'd take notes if have I heard about it, or it was kind of a weird process.
Yeah. Here's a name that I saw on a different record that I like, some producer or someone, or even the artist on the cover sometimes, just like,
or the label, right?
Yeah.
Like if it was on Discord, it was probably a good record. And even if it wasn't the best record, it was probably pretty good,
Yeah. Were you guys ordering the Discord singles early on as they were coming out?
I ordered Out of Step from them, and I think the first 7-inch I ordered from them. And I remember ordering a VHS videotape from a place in San Francisco that had all this Black Flag footage that was really cool, like TV party video it was on and stuff like that.
Target Video?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that you couldn't get, like you just couldn't get anywhere else. So tapes and stuff. And Wax Tracks in Chicago, I ordered stuff from them. And
So you guys are moshing around in the basement. What are your parents thinking about this?
I don't
I don't think they were into it. I don't think they didn't discourage it, but they didn't encourage it. We had 5 boys in our family. It was my mom had 3 boys and then had twins, me and Brent.
That poor woman.
I know.
5 boys in 5 years, right? So
I think she was kind of burned out anyway. So I think she just got you just get, if you're a parent, you just get tired of saying no and all the time. You're just like, what the hell? Like, okay. And I think when we started playing music, we were in the basement and they knew where we were, which was good. Even if they didn't like the racket, it's like, okay, they're here.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause we jammed in the basement. We had a drum kit and a little PA and bass. Like we had a little setup and we just jammed like, yeah. So it's better than roaming the streets, I suppose, as they say, right?
Yeah. So, you guys had a pretty big family there. Was there a lot of money for ordering these records? And how did you guys facilitate that?
Oh, part-time job. Yeah. Like from grade 10 or whatever, I had a part-time job. And that was, that paid for the records. Yeah. You get your check, go to the bank, go to the record store.
Were you getting a lot of these COD all the time? Did they were they shipped COD to Canada?
No, not really. You'd go get like a money order, put it in an envelope, send it off.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you went to order, say, 5 records at, let's say $10 each, you sent them a money order for $50, and then they didn't have a couple in stock. Did they refunded you the 20 or something? Yeah. You remember how that worked?
I don't really recall. But
I mean,
the two record stores in Edmonton that we were talking about, student at the university and Sound Connection, they were pretty good at getting import stuff. And I remember like going once a week and they would always be like, oh, here's the new stuff that just came in. And often sometimes you'd see stuff you didn't know was coming out. Like there'd be like a new Sex Pistols, like when I saw the Great Rock and Roll Swindle soundtrack, I didn't even know about it. I was like, what the hell is this? Or you discover it just like that. And we were in so often, they'd know. They'd be like, hey, the new stuff's in over in the bin there.
Yeah.
And
they'd be pretty good at saying, we say, hey, can we put this one on? And they would put it on like through the whole system through the store. Begrudgingly sometimes,
with
like
mixed results.
It would be like the guy working the till that's the free jazz guy, and he'd be putting on the Dead Kennedys album. He'd be like, yeah, okay, kid, keep it quick.
Oh, yeah. Punk has a lot more to do with free jazz than bebop, I think. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And what kind of bands were coming through town?
Not many. There's like the local, like the Canadian punk rock bands that we listen to a lot too, like the Subhumans and DOA would come through once or twice a year. And like in terms of big band, I remember 999 played, which was kind of a big deal. And they played like in a theater at the university, and that was a big deal. The headline in the paper the next day, Punk Rock Riot. And it was just, us kids moshing or whatever, having a little bit of fun. So I remember the Stranglers came through.
Yeah.
On the Men in Black tour. And Iggy Pop came through, but not tons of bands. But
so we'd see any band that came into town, really,
Yeah, everyone would go to anything, because it wasn't happening every day.
Right.
Yeah.
And at what point did you guys start playing together? Like, what was there a record or something that inspired you guys to go from listener to participant?
No, I don't think it was one particular record. I think it was the whole genre of punk rock. It wasn't about being the best player. It's just about doing it, right? And so that's what we did, and that was exciting to us because we didn't really know how to play guitars when we started the band.
Mm.
And we had someone moved into the neighborhood, and he had a bass and a PA, and he kind of knew about playing music, and he coached us a bit right when we were starting. So that helped a lot too.
Okay. Taught you some basic chords and
but basically, we listened to Sex Pistols and Devo and The Clash and the Ramones. I remember the Rock the Rush album. I was like, well, that's cool. So, and that was like, okay. And you could kind of get out your guitar after you figured out how to play bar chords. You could kind of play along and go, okay. Mark was good at figuring. Mark had a better ear than me. He could sit down and figure out a song in a while. And, we just went from there, right?
Okay. You guys played with Chai from day one. Is that right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think like the very, very first in-cart band we tried to make, Chai wasn't there, but we were really good friends with Chai. He was like super fun to hang out with. And he was, in a way, he was a lot, personality-wise, he was something that we weren't. He was sort of fearless and didn't give a fuck about anybody, really. And he was just so much fun to hang out with. So, and he because he was a couple years older than us, so he knew people in the scene,
And basically every Saturday we'd meet up and do like the tour of the record stores, and we'd be walking along, and he just knew people, and he had the gift of gab. He would just stop and just chat, do the stop and chat with everybody for 20 minutes. And me and Mark were just like, whoa, you're talking to Mo Berg from the Modern Minds. We were just kind of in on, like, so we just kind of tagged along, and Chai just knew everybody. And as Mark said, he was fearless, and he just talked to everybody. It was just awesome. Yeah.
And when forming the band, it became SNFU. What were some of the other band names you guys went through? Do you remember?
Oh, good question. I remember having, we did have a page of names, and there's a lot, like, I remember, like, there was a lot of death and blood. I think we're like
Blood Fart. I think Chai wanted to call the band Blood Fart, something like that.
And there was like Death Sport or Death Race, or stuff like that. I think Sudden Death. I think Sudden Death was a name.
I think we wanted like a real punk rock name,
But then we went with Snafu. Like, originally it was the word snafu, and we're like, oh, snafu, situation we're all fucked up. It's not as, on the nose, like blood, skull, death, but it's situation normal, all fucked up, which really was kind of summed up us as a band. But then there was that prog rock band, so we thought we couldn't, so we had to change the name in some kind of way. So that's why, okay, we'll just change. So it's situation normal, all fucked. Society's now fucked up, or society's no fucking use, right? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the acronym wasn't a byproduct; it was the driver of the band.
Yeah, it was derived from the word snafu, and the acronym situation normal, all fucked up, right? So
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What was the first release from SNFU? I'm trying to determine what was the first single. You guys recorded a single together early on, didn't you?
Well, the first, we went into the Life of a Bagley. We recorded it. It was for compilation. It was going to be an Edmonton compilation album that was coming out. It was all, I don't know, 10 bands. And then they did like some shows to raise money for the release. And then the guy just disappeared.
Project, right?
Oh yeah, it's called Westwatch. Yeah. So the guy disappeared. So we had this 2-song recording for the comp, and then we didn't release it as a single. We took it to the radio station. It got some airplay on the local radio station, and that was about it. And then we sent it around as a demo to get gigs and that kind of thing. Right. Okay. That was about it. So it was just a demo, the first thing. And then
was
we
recorded out?
What?
It came from Inner Space?
Well, what about the BYO recording?
Oh,
was that
Womanizer.
That might have
Inner Space came out before that, though.
That was probably the summer, and then in the fall we went to Winnipeg and recorded for the BYO Something to Believe in comp.
Yeah. So there was an Edmonton compilation called It Came from Inner Space that had 2 songs, Strip Search and Real Men Don't Watch Quincy. And then, so that was a compilation of Edmonton bands. And then we recorded Victims of the Womanizer for the BYO comp, Something to Believe in. And then they did our album.
Got it. And just real quick, that Real Men Don't Watch Quincy, was that kind of a bit of a response to the Quincy punk rock episode?
Yes, okay. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We watched the show, and me and Mark wrote that. Like, we watched the show, and then we went to the other room and wrote the song, probably just like that.
That is such an incredible piece of work. You gotta, if anyone listening hasn't seen it, go to YouTube and Quincy punk rock, and it's incredible.
That's probably one of the 2 songs that Chai didn't write the words for, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you guys always made the riffs, the music, and then Chai did the words. Did he start with the words sometimes and then the music, or how did it typically happen?
Well, he had volumes of lyrics. He had books of songs and ideas for songs. So I don't think it was the same process every time. But I think generally he had so many different ideas for songs and starts for songs that he would listen to what we were doing for the most part, and then pick one of the songs that fit the music the best, and then go from there.
Like, so we'd get together and jam, and say Mark would come in with a riff and a couple ideas, and we start working on it, figuring it out, arranging it, and he would just start reefing through the book. And as we'd spend time working on the arrangements and stuff like that, and the whole time he would just be trying to find something that works it. So then once we kind of had the arrangement and stuff together, he usually had something picked out from his lyric book, and then we just kept going from there. Right?
Okay, songs came thick and fast from there. But so your first time on record was a compilation, Do you remember that feeling of being able to put the needle on the record and hearing your band playing back to you?
Not really. I think my initial listenings, I was sort of underwhelmed by what I had heard, and probably due to the production a little bit, and maybe due to our playing a little bit, but not totally satisfied with what we did. I was excited, but not. I sort of
knew you could do better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I remember playing the inner space comp for our grandfather, who was a musician. He was a piano player. He played in like a prairie dance band, and I played it for him, and I was like, "Oh my, what's he gonna think?" Right? And I played it for him, and he went, "It's good. People will like it because it's really different."
Oh, that's nice.
Kind of a backhanded compliment, but he said, "Yeah, it's really different." And I was like, "Oh, good."
That's a lot nicer than my folks' feedback. But comps are so important. And like you said, you know, they're like these little postcards from the different parts of the world that kind of tell you about all these different bands. And then you can kind of follow that path. I actually discovered SNFU from the Punkorama compilations.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys started on a BYO compilation, but then graduated to a full BYO album. How did that happen?
I don't know. The album came. It seems, you know, Something to Believe in comp came out, and there was however many bands. BYO was looking to put out some new bands, and I guess just from the response from the comp, I don't know. They asked us, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of being at the right place at the right time, because BYO was eager to build their catalog up of their label and really get a label going. And they were Canadians living in LA. So they had this sort of affection for Canadian bands in general. And I think as their label was germinating and they were looking, like I said, to build their catalog, we happened to be there and wrote decent songs, and we were a good live band.
Yeah. We were talking to them, and then they came through. They toured across Western Canada in probably 83 it would have been, or 84. Yeah. Because we were talking to them, and then we played a few shows with them, and they were like, okay. And it was pretty much done at that point, because they'd seen us and heard us, and then they saw us again. I guess they thought we were getting a little bit better, which I think we certainly were. So
you guys were certainly putting in the road work. I mean, especially in Canada, where cities are a little bit further and far between than a place like the States. It's a lot of work to be a band up there, I would imagine.
Well,
absolutely.
I think it was part of our way we were brought up. Our parents just drove everywhere. Like they met each other in Alberta, my parents, and they ended up moving all the way to Prince Edward Island on the eastern part of Canada. And they drove back to Alberta for Christmas from Prince Edward Island. And we were constantly like, that's ridiculous. It blows my mind still. And we were constantly driving down to rural Alberta to visit my grandmother. And it was always like, get in the car and drive around. So
like
I think,
once a month we would drive 3 hours to see mom's family. 3 hours back. That was a weekend. We just did that like once a month since we were born. We would do a 3 hour drive to see the family, come back, right? So
pretty normal.
Yeah.
That's just how it was. Yeah.
You're from Australia. You know, it's like there's a lot of space. If you want to go somewhere, you got to do a pretty long drive to get to the next city, right? So
yeah. Well, I grew up in California, so I know how it's how it could also be. But here in Australia, you drive all day, 12-hour day, and then all of a sudden you look at the map and you're like, I've only gone like this freaking far. Like it's
yeah. I was just saying, when we started, we do like a weekend. We drive 6 hours to Regina, and then I don't know, to Winnipeg, and then 10-hour drive home. That was like a weekend. It's what you had to do.
Mm-hmm. So the band was kind of a full-time job at that point. I mean, it's kind of what you did. It didn't leave a lot of room for other things to happen, did it?
We were committed. We were very committed to the cause, and because it was super fun. And I mean, speaking for myself, that's all I could think about when I was at school or whatever anyway. It's all I wanted to do.
So you guys record and no one else wanted to play, which is what we're going to be talking a lot about on this at the Punk Rock Museum, doing a deep dive into that release. What do you remember about recording that album?
Oh, super exciting being in Los Angeles to record an album. Like we've talked about what our history was before that. We weren't like really experienced with recording in general. So there was sort of a naivety about the whole studio process. But being super excited about being in Los Angeles, because we were really into like all the Los Angeles punk rock bands, and it felt like, oh, maybe we could be like, we can fit in there, like we're around it and be immersed in it. And so that sorts a lot of that, being excited about being in LA, being made probably a little intimidated about the recording process and not really knowing what to do. It was a lot of like, okay, do this, and now do this, now do this, and not being able to articulate, like knowing like about recording now and how it's so much about listening back and listening and listening and listening and listening and redoing things. There was none of that. It was just like, is that good? Is that good? Okay. And then move on. So
right.
It was interesting.
Did you guys just have a couple days to be able to do this? Or what kind of timing do you remember that taking?
It was about a week, I think.
Yeah. I think we recorded, and then 3 days. And then we went and played shows in Arizona, 2 shows. And then we came back and mixed it. I think we mixed it in a day and a half. I think we had a day, and then Slayer was coming in. So we had to leave at 6 o'clock because Slayer was coming in.
Oh, yeah. What were they recording at the time?
I think it ended up being the Show No Mercy EP. Yeah. It would have been, I don't really know exactly. But yeah. But there was like in terms of overdubbing, there was very minimal overdubs. Like we did some background vocals, and maybe Chai redid some vocals, but I don't remember doing any guitar overdubs really. Yeah. Like I've looked at the sessions because I've got the digitized sessions now, and there's 24 track tape. There's 5 blank tracks. It's like, what? You know, the way, you know, I still do music now. It'll be like 42 tracks because there's like, you just do another track, triple that guitar part, add another guitar part. But then it was just like, it was just pretty much live off the floor. And like Mark said, overdubs, there's very, very few overdubs. There's like gang vocals, ba, 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 and sound effects. There's a couple of sound effects track in there, right?
Oh, like
yeah. We recorded. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. We recorded in the evening. It was all done in the evening because it was cheaper studio time.
Mm-hmm. And you guys have the multi-track still. That's pretty impressive. They survived all these years.
Yeah. Well, we just got them. Joe and Trust Records digitized everything and then sent us the tracks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So BYO had kept everything all these years?
Yep. Yeah.
So they also have If You Swear You'll Catch No Fish then as well, I'd assume.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So maybe Trust will be doing that next down the line. That's the next one.
Good. Well, we got to sell a lot of copies of and no one else wanted to play.
First things first.
Yeah, exactly. One foot in front of the other. So tell me a little bit about the controversy of the album cover.
Oh, God. Well, it's controversial because we basically just saw a cool picture in a book in the library and used it, which is really not
punk rock.
Very punk rock.
Yeah.
Very punk rock. So it's created all sorts of problems. There's like 5 different album covers because we never got the rights. So we had the photo we stole, and they went, oh shit, Jello wrote us. He's like, are you aware that other bands, Crucifix tried to use Diane Arbus stuff, and Sex Gang Children, and they got sued by the Diane Arbus estate? And we're like, oh shit, we can't do this. So we did like a drawing of the picture because it would be like an artistic interpretation of the photo, and then that didn't fly. We got nervous about that, and then Chai had actually the cover that Trust is going to use, which is the sort of 50s illustration of the parents with the kid with the gun, which is I think what we should have ran with at that point. And then there was another cover because we had to come up with the cover really shortly. So this guy in Montreal did an illustration, the gory cover,
the Christmas one, the train thing.
Yeah. Which I not really that fond of. But we did. So there's that one. Yeah. So it's like 5 or 6 different covers.
Did you guys actually hear from the photographer's estate, or you just kind of preemptive?
No, they were preemptive. There was no cease and desist. Like they were just waiting for the cease and desist to show up, and it never did. So they were, they were staying ahead of it. And
So the cover for the Trust one, which one is the gun one? Is that?
It's the illustration of the parents with the child and the rifle.
Got it. Now, in the various pressings, I believe there is some variations in the track list. I think later pressings had an extra song on it, a Warren Zevon cover.
oh, really?
Really?
I think
I didn't
so.
know that.
Maybe was that? I've got the records here. Maybe was that on? I wonder if that was on a CD release because there'd be more room on the CD.
Possibly a Warren Zevon cover.
Poor pitiful me.
See, I've got all of them here. So yeah, there's the first one, right? Oh no, that's the first one. Then that's the artistic interpretation of it,
right.
And this is the one that Mark was talking about, the kid with the gun, right?
Yeah. Chai laid that all out. That's all it is.
And then that one, yeah. So yeah, maybe the CD had an extra song. That was a song from a compilation. What's it called? Primitive Air Raid compilation out of Psych Industries in Montreal that we did for that.
Because there was one that had that extra track. I've been trying to find that track as well. It's probably on one of the other comps. So yeah. In your knowledge, what is the rarest, most collectible SNFU record?
I don't know. I would maybe the first pressing of the first album, but I don't really know.
There's probably some 7-inch, but the bootleg 7-inch, I don't know.
That's a good question.
Okay.
Or could it be the first pressing of the first BYO with the photo album cover? I would, because that was, there was one batch and that was done, right? So
yeah, it's not being made anymore. So that's probably it.
Those aren't cheap. Those are $200 or $300. There's one record that sold in recent years, in the last 5 years. It was the purple edition of Real Men Don't Watch Quincy.
Oh.
Only 15 were made, apparently.
So was it purple vinyl, you mean?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Apparently that went for over $800.
And who even released that? I don't know. Some bootleg.
I don't know if it's a bootleg. Normally bootlegs don't get that crazy. There may have been maybe a test press, something like that.
I know Chai was getting them made, like when we broke up for the first time, Chai was put it out with some guy, and I never found out who the guy was. Chai never told us about the 7-inch either. But
well, he said he didn't do it. And I remember I came to Vancouver and was like, don't lie to me. It's obvious you did it. Like, you look at he goes, I know nothing about it. I'm going, it's obvious you did the artwork. Yeah. And he's going, okay, I did the artwork. Yeah, and he kind of fessed up after, but we still don't know who did it.
Yeah.
So that's semi-official.
Yeah.
Semi-official.
But that keeps it semi-official, and it keeps it kind of rare because there's probably not that many of them around, right? Yeah.
Right. In the history of the band, and I know there's books, there's documentaries on the band. Is there anything or things that the books and documentaries maybe don't capture or even get totally wrong about SNFU?
Totally wrong.
Hopefully they got it wrong and they made it more interesting. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys have seen the documentaries. Is there a part where you're like, wait, that's not what happened? Hang on.
No, I think for the most part, they're like pretty accurate. I think overall, it's kind of. I remember when Chris Walter did the book and my dad read the book. I was like, my dad's like, I read the book. It's kind of sad, is what he said. And I was just talking to Damian Abraham because they're going to do a new documentary, because he said the documentaries about SNFU that exist right now, the main one is the Chai Pig one, and it's kind of sad. It's kind of a sad story. And Damien's like, you guys deserve better than that. It shouldn't be a sad story. It should be like a positive thing. So that, if anything, I think most of the stuff that's out there is like 80-90% right, Mm-hmm. There's no sort of disservice about any of it, but it would be nice if it had more of a positive spin, It's like, this was a really good thing. It's not all sad.
Yeah. No, I'd agree. I'd agree with that. There does seem to be a pronunciation of that part of the band, that part of the story, which is sad. But it's just a fraction of kind of the whole thing that happened.
Well, yeah. And it's really hard to ignore, right? Like you can't look at it and not acknowledge the way Chai's life ended, right? Like it's really not very happy. But Chai did entertain thousands of people, hundreds and tens of hundreds of thousands of people, right? Chai is like the most, one of, if not the most, or one of the most unique frontmen you'll ever see, right? There's nobody like him. He's one of a kind. Like, even lyrically, the songs he wrote and his style of writing, there's no one like him. He's one of a kind. And that is the thing that the light should be shined on more than his demise, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, was it fairly early on when you guys noticed this, I guess, schism within Chai?
No, early on. Like, when we broke up in 89, he got back together in 91, and then that's when we all moved to Vancouver, and he was living here already, and he was doing fine. He was working and paying his rent and living his life, and everything was fine. He kind of spiraled down later, and it was probably happening more than I knew about, right? Like, he had a complete nervous breakdown at one point but
this is the post Epitaph years. Yeah.
During the late Epitaph years, he had this breakdown, right? And like, we were at that point, we were doing, we were on Epitaph, and we basically were paying our rent and all that by playing in the band. So that was great, right? So I think he was pretty happy about that. But he had this, we'd come home from tour and we just wouldn't see him at all, right? So he kind of just would drop away, and who knows? I don't know what he was up to at that point. He was probably doing stuff that we didn't know about. But he'd show up for practice late, of course, but he'd show up for practice, and he, whenever it's time to play a show, he was on. There was no fucking around when it came time to get on stage. So he was always, that was the most important thing, right? If he showed up and played and kicked ass, which he did every time, right? Yeah.
Okay. So the first time the band broke up in the early 90s, and then that compilation LP came out, the Suspenders, I think. And then you guys went on a tour just to play a few shows, and then realized, hey, this was kind of fun. So the first time you broke up, it was more from exhaustion. I guess, what led to that initial breakup?
Well, I think we were like really poor communicators was one of the issues, that we didn't really talk about anything. And a lot of issues built up, and more just like personality clashes and things like that. And a bit of been there, done that. I think with SNFU, we were going on tour and playing a lot of the same places over and over again. And it just seemed like it was done. And like I said, we had a very low level of communication with each other, and it sort of built up, and just sort of had enough.
Well, yeah. And also at that time in the late 80s, I guess, the whole, like, the hardcore thing was dying out. It would sort of, the whole violence and the aggression thing, people were dropping out of the scene, and bands like, the established hardcore bands were moving on from it, because it was kind of getting tired of that crazy punk rock violent skinhead scenes. The skinheads were showing up at shows and just wrecking shows, so people understandably were moving on. And like, so we were still touring, and the shows we were still getting shows, and it was going well. Like, we kind of wanted to end it on a high note at that point too, because I think we were we were at our peak, and we're like, and things just seemed to be leveling off. It's like, okay. And then talk about communication. I remember we came home from tour, and we went to have like a meeting about the state of the union with the band, and then Chai just never showed up. He was like, let's do it. Let's have another meeting, and he wouldn't show up. And okay, we said, well, fuck it, let's just break up. So we just all drove to his. Like, he didn't show up. We just drove to his house, and we said, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess in the early 90s, the scene just finally caught up with where SNFU and all these other bands were. I mean, that was kind of the time with Epitaph and Fat and skate punk just really kind of had this huge boom.
Yeah. And Mark, when the SNFU broke out, Mark was starting to sing, and he was like, okay, I want to do a band. And I went to sing in a band. So that's when the Wee Chief started. So I don't know. In another world, maybe both bands would have existed, but that's not the way it played out, right?
Yeah. I mean, looking back now, that's probably that's what I would have done. Instead of just ending SNFU, I would have sort of done both. There's no reason why you can't do both, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, are you guys still making music?
I'm not really. I think about music all the time, and I've recorded some stuff, and things I want to finish, but generally I'm not really playing that much music anymore. I'm playing my guitar a lot now because we're supposed to play songs at the museum, but
Okay.
Learning those old SNFU songs.
yeah.
Yeah, I got to do that. Got 2 weeks, Mark. Got 2 weeks to learn those songs. Okay.
Well, Brent, I could see about half a dozen guitars directly behind you there. So I'm
Yeah.
I don't know if they're as dusty as the one that I have on my wall, but
But
Yeah,
Brent does
I do film music now, right? So I work in the music. Well, I don't know if it's the music business, the film business, but I do music for film, and I get to play guitar. I dabble in the guitar, but mostly it's just like on the computer, cranking out music. Yeah.
mm-hmm. So you stayed in the creative space.
Yeah. When I quit SNFU, I went to music school and learned about jazz and strings, and I played a lot of piano at that point. So yeah,
Okay.
just to try something different. Yeah.
So going forward, just the I guess the reputation, the legacy of SNFU, it feels like it's incomplete. It feels like there's some additional shaping that needs to happen, like you say, making sure that the positive aspects of the band start to have more prominence and bringing some of these recordings back to availability. Is that fair?
totally fair.
Yeah, and I think this release by Trust is a huge part of that. Like, I think it's going to be a really good thing, this release. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I just love what Trust is doing, and
Yeah.
all their products are great. And I love the fact you said 100-page book is coming. Is it inside the record, or is that a separate purchase?
I think it's
Well,
like
is it like the box set release, and then there's like the standard release? Is
Okay.
that how it works?
I think so.
Yeah.
I know
I
with
can tell you
SSD
exactly
there
what
was
release.
this.
I don't
there was
wanna-
this book.
SSD.
SSD.
Oh, SSD. Oh, the Trust release on SSD. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a version with the book. So
Yeah, I think so. I think there's like a deluxe version with the book and then the final version.
is that already for sale? Is the SNFU?
Okay.
Don't know.
I don't know the exact release date. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm looking at the release here. It's a lot of pages. Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Let's see. I could see SNFU T-shirts. I'm not seeing.
Okay. The one was called, it's 53 pages, the booklet. 53 pages.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you read it twice, it'll be 100. Okay. I got to find those links to where people can order these things, where I could order one of these. I'm a bit of a Trust collector these days. They're one of those
Just in
labels.
time for Christmas.
Yeah. Or, well, by the time it gets to
Yeah.
Australia, it'll be,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This album's been in the work for years. When did we first talk to them? Like 4 years ago. So yeah, they're doing it right. They're not rushing it. Like SNFU, we tended to always rush things because we were so excited to get on tour.
Yeah.
But Trust is like taking their time, making sure everything's perfect. Right. Yeah.
So you guys have been to the Punk Rock Museum before, yeah?
No.
No.
Nope.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. There's a lot of great stuff there. I don't know if you've heard or you're gonna. I'm sure you're gonna spend some time going through it and be just wide-eyed fascination. Some of these items still exist.
Yeah, we're going to be showing people around, and our mind's going to be blown. And these people, I've been here 4 times. I'll be sitting there going, "What? Look at this!" Right? I'll be like a kid in the candy store, and people can just hold my hand and come along for the ride. It should be fun.
That's killer. All right, well, guys, I'm getting ready to wrap up. Is there anything you want to talk about we haven't talked about?
Not really. That was kind of a long chat.
Yeah.
How's
the weather in Australia?
It's it was getting really nice, but today it's a bit overcast, a bit shit. We're hoping to take the dogs to the beach, but I don't think it's happening today, man.
Yeah,
we went to Australia 2 times and I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved Australia. Yeah,
it's a hard place to leave. It really is. It really is. So
you left California and got stuck in Australia?
I chased a girl here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
oh no.
Yeah. No, she's still in the picture. She's upstairs. She's we've got kids and everything. It all worked out. I mean, but yeah, look, I always liked California, but I always felt I upgraded when it came to Sydney.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Brent and Mark, thank you so much for joining us and sharing all about the history of SNFU and especially those early records. I'm going to find those links so people can order trust copies of And No One Else Wanted to Play. And then December 5th, I believe, at the Punk Rock Museum, if my facts aren't wrong. You guys will be doing a whole roundtable there, some guided tours. I'm actually flying out to be there. So
No way. Really?
I will be there. Absolutely.
Awesome.
I'll be very tired, but I will be there. And the Punk Rock Museum, they've got a bar. You can get beers and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. There's a tattoo parlor upstairs. It really is a great place to be. So again, if anyone is near Las Vegas or can get there, December 5th is the day to be there. SNFU and a whole bunch of other historians. I think it's going to be a great roundtable, great day. Marc, Brent, thanks again. You guys travel safe, and we'll see you in Las Vegas on December 5th.
Really nice meeting you, Nate.
Looking forward to it,
Yeah.
guys.
Thanks for your time, man.
All good. Cheers. Oh, man. I can't wait till December 5th. That's going to be killer. Punk Rock Museum, Las Vegas, Nevada, guided tours, Q&A roundtable conversation, a live set from SNFU, and the official launch of the Trust Records re-release and deluxe version of And No One Else Wanted to Play. So if you're anywhere near Las Vegas or can get there on December 5th, make sure to get there. It's going to be an amazing day. And that's it for this episode of The Vinyl Guide. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to everyone who's sharing these episodes on social media, putting them on Facebook and Instagram and in Reddit forums. That is hugely appreciated. Those of you who are leaving us positive reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, that is also a huge help. But I definitely want to thank the absolute dead set legends who are helping support this podcast on patreon.com/Vinyl Guide. Every little bit helps. It goes to my beer and burrito funds and helps power this podcast and me smashing out these episodes. So that's patreon.com/Vinyl Guide. And thank you so much. We'll be back shortly with a brand new episode. So until we talk next time, you all behave yourselves. And thanks again for listening to the Vinyl Guide podcast. Cheers.